What if your skin is actually a living record of a 200,000-year survival story? Every shade of human skin exists because of one invisible force, the sunday. Too much ultraviolet radiation can damage DNA and destroy vital nutrients in the blood. Too little, and the body struggles to produce enough vitamin D to survive. So over thousands of years, human skin adapted. Some evolved to block most of the sun's radiation. Others evolved to let more light through. Different colors, same biology, all shaped by the same star above us. Deep ebony skin represents one of the most powerful natural defenses the human body has evolved. In regions close to the equator, sunlight is intense almost every day of the year. For early human populations living in these environments, constant exposure to ultraviolet radiation created a serious biological challenge. High levels of melanin in darker skin act as a natural shield. This pigment absorbs and scatters ultraviolet radiation before it can penetrate deeper layers of the skin. Research suggests that higher levels of melanin can significantly reduce the amount of ultraviolet radiation that penetrates the skin, significantly reducing cellular damage caused by long-term sun exposure. Without this protective barrier, ultraviolet radiation can damage DNA inside skin cells and increase the risk of severe biological stress. Over thousands of generations, natural selection favored individuals with higher melanin levels because their skin provided stronger protection against the intense equatorial sun. This adaptation allowed early human populations to live and thrive in some of the brightest environments on Earth. But protecting the skin was only part of the challenge. Ultraviolet radiation created another hidden threat that early humans had to overcome: the destruction of folate. This essential nutrient, also known as vitamin B9, circulates in the bloodstream and plays a critical role in DNA synthesis and healthy cell division. Scientific studies suggest that high levels of ultraviolet radiation can break down folate molecules in the blood. When folate levels drop too low, it may affect fertility and increase the risk of complications during pregnancy. For populations living near the equator, where intense sunlight is present year-round, protecting this nutrient became extremely important for reproductive success. Individuals whose skin contained higher concentrations of melanin had an advantage. Melanin acts as a biological filter, reducing the amount of ultraviolet radiation that reaches blood vessels near the skin's surface. By helping preserve folate levels, darker pigmentation likely improved the chances of healthy pregnancies and successful reproduction over many generations. In this way, skin color became closely linked to long-term human survival. As human populations gradually migrated away from the equator and into the colder landscapes of northern Europe, a remarkable evolutionary shift began to unfold. The same melanin that once protected the body under intense tropical sunlight started to become a disadvantage in regions where sunlight was far weaker. At higher latitudes, the sun stays lower in the sky and ultraviolet radiation becomes extremely limited, especially during the long winter months. Dense skin pigmentation that once preserved vital nutrients now reduced the body's ability to produce enough vitamin D. This created a serious survival challenge. Vitamin D is essential for helping the body absorb calcium, which is necessary for building and maintaining strong bones. Without enough of it, people can develop conditions such as rickets, where bones become soft and deformed. Archaeological evidence from parts of medieval Europe suggests that bone diseases were relatively common during certain periods. Over time, natural selection favored individuals with lower melanin levels, allowing more sunlight to reach the skin and support vitamin D production. To survive in regions where sunlight was scarce, some human populations gradually developed a striking evolutionary adaptation: extremely low levels of skin pigmentation. Over many generations, melanin production decreased to the minimum level required for basic biological function. The result was much lighter skin, which allowed more ultraviolet radiation to pass through the outer layers of the body. Studies on vitamin D synthesis suggest that lighter skin allows several times more ultraviolet radiation to penetrate compared with very dark skin. In northern regions where the sun remains low in the sky and winter daylight is limited, this difference became critically important. Greater UV absorption helped the body produce enough vitamin D to support bone growth and overall health. Without sufficient vitamin D, the body struggles to absorb calcium properly. Although lighter skin is more vulnerable to sunburn, the evolutionary trade-off favored improved vitamin D production. In environments where sunlight was limited, maximizing every small amount of UV radiation became essential for long-term survival. Between the extremes of very dark and very light skin, another remarkable adaptation emerged in regions where sunlight changes dramatically throughout the year. Populations with intermediate skin tones, such as olive or warm beige, developed a flexible system that can adjust melanin production when needed. Instead of maintaining a constant level of pigmentation, the body can increase melanin during periods of stronger sunlight. During the summer months, this added pigment acts as a temporary protective layer, helping reduce damage from increased ultraviolet radiation. As seasons change and sunlight becomes weaker, the skin gradually reduces melanin levels. This allows more ultraviolet light to reach the deeper layers of the skin, supporting the production of vitamin D when sunlight is limited. Researchers suggest that these intermediate skin tones may provide a balanced advantage in environments with strong seasonal variation. The ability to shift between protection and absorption helps maintain stable vitamin D levels while still protecting cells from excessive radiation throughout the year. Beyond seasonal changes in melanin levels, olive-toned skin may show another subtle adaptation related to how light interacts with the skin. This phenotype often appears in regions where different human populations historically mixed, creating a balanced pigmentation with yellow, green, or gray undertones. Researchers suggest these undertones may influence the way skin reflects and absorbs light. In bright sunlight, olive-toned skin can appear slightly darker, while in softer or shaded light, it may look lighter. This visual shift is caused by the distribution of pigments and the way light scatters across the skin's surface. Although the effect may seem purely cosmetic, some scientists believe it could offer small, functional advantages. By maintaining moderate melanin levels, olive-toned skin can still provide protection from ultraviolet radiation while allowing enough sunlight to support vitamin D production. This balance may help individuals adapt to environments where sunlight varies across seasons, showing how human skin pigmentation reflects both biological needs and environmental pressures. This remarkable adaptability leads to an important discovery revealed by modern genetic research. Despite the wide range of skin tones seen around the world, scientists have found that all humans share the same number of melanocytes. These specialized cells are responsible for producing melanin, the pigment that gives skin its color. The difference between skin tones is not determined by how many of these cells exist. Instead, it depends on how active they are and how melanin is produced, packaged, and distributed throughout the skin. Recent genomic studies suggest that several key genetic variations influence how these processes work. Small changes in these genes can affect enzyme activity and the transfer of pigment between cells, creating the wide spectrum of human skin tones we see today. In other words, every person is built with the same basic biological system. Skin color reflects how that system has been gradually tuned by natural selection to respond to different levels of sunlight across the planet. What makes this shared biological system even more fascinating is how quickly it can adapt to new environments. Modern genetic research suggests that human skin pigmentation appears to be one of the more rapidly changing traits in the human genome. Evolution is often imagined as a process that unfolds over millions of years. However, studies indicate that noticeable shifts in pigmentation genes may occur within roughly 5,000 to 10,000 years. In evolutionary terms, this represents only a few hundred generations. This rapid pace reflects the powerful environmental pressure created by ultraviolet radiation. When human populations moved into regions with very different levels of sunlight, individuals whose pigmentation allowed them to maintain healthier vitamin D levels or protect key nutrients had a greater chance of surviving and reproducing. Over time, these advantages accumulated within populations. As a result, entire groups gradually shifted toward skin tones better suited to their local environment, showing how quickly natural selection can reshape visible human traits. The visible changes in human skin color are only part of a much deeper biological story. Beneath the surface, evolution was also reshaping how the human body processes sunlight at the molecular level. Recent genetic research suggests that some populations did not rely only on lighter skin to survive in environments with limited sunlight. Instead, certain groups developed biological changes that improved how their bodies respond to vitamin D. These adaptations may allow cells to function effectively, even when vitamin D levels are relatively low. Other studies indicate that some populations evolve more efficient vitamin D transport systems within the bloodstream. These proteins help deliver the nutrient to different parts of the body where it is needed for bone health, immune responses, and normal cellular function. Together, these internal adaptations reveal that human evolution worked on multiple levels. Skin pigmentation changed on the outside, while deeper, molecular systems also adjusted to maintain balance with the available sunlight. Ultimately, the story of human skin color reveals far more than a simple physical difference. It reflects a long history of adaptation, shaped by sunlight, geography, and survival. The tone of your skin carries traces of where your ancestors once lived and the environmental challenges they faced over thousands of years. Across the world, every shade of human skin represents a response to the same fundamental pressure, balancing protection from ultraviolet radiation while still allowing the body to produce enough vitamin D to remain healthy. When scientists study this process, they do not find separate biological systems dividing humanity. Instead, they see the same underlying genetic machinery working in every person, carefully adjusted by natural selection to fit different environments. In this sense, human skin is more than appearance. It is a living record of resilience, showing how our species gradually adapted to life under many different skies across the planet. In the end, the color of our skin is not a boundary between us. It is a record of how humanity learned to live under every kind of sky. This content is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to support the channel. Thanks for the support.